stinging. Stinging. I swear. Did I forget it? Hold on. Hey, it's not the full thing. Where is it? Dear fucking God. How's it, stinging honeys? Welcome back to another episode of Clan Vipokwen Get Go Garrick Winjoba Clan Tessilio Go Go. Today we're gonna talk about the Five Nights at Freddy's timeline. Because there's just one. And it's very clear what that one is. I'm gonna talk about my definitive Five Nights at Freddy's timeline, which I finished putting together today. But I also need to organize the mess behind me, so I'm gonna organize my books as I talk about my FNAF timeline. If that sounds interesting to you, I can't say that! So if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to dox me on your Instagram story. Ah! So I guess I'll start by taking these off the shelf. Stay together, stay together, stay together. Ah! Me when watching Good Omens Season 2. Whoa, spoilers, sorry about that. Hey, what? There's bath bombs back here. Who are you? With the first shelf, I guess I'll go into the first part of this. So, the core characters we're going to be working with here are William Afton. William, okay? Get it in there. Then there's Henry Emily. And then there's Michael Afton. Michael Afton. Whoa, he has the same last name as William Afton. That's crazy. Probably no relation. And then there's Charlotte Emily. Also probably no relation to Henry. There's Jeremy. And there is the crying child, or Michael's younger brother. Look at this. Look at how tiny it is. That's totally not the sole reason I got it. Stack of journals. That might be a fun video. I have this, which is my stack of records. My record. Who's he? Who's he? Why is he in my window? I'll never know. Sorry. Five Nights at Freddy's. Why am I talking about Five Nights at Freddy's? These are my 45s and my Nerf gun, hidden for self-defense. I have this like little ecosystem down here that I'm not really sure what to do with. That sounds ominous. And a bell? That's crazy. Order around my little Victorian servant with that. Dog. Okay, so getting started with the story. There's William Afton and Henry Emily. These two decide they're going to start a small diner. A small diner that has animatronic attractions, which is definitely unique. We know that unique isn't always a good thing, right? William takes more responsibility for the business side, and Henry assembles the animatronics. So William Afton's youngest son is deathly afraid of these animatronics, and his older brother Michael Afton, thinks it would be funny to shove the crying child's head into a golden bear animatronic. Him and his friends think this is very, very funny until that bear's jaw snaps closed with force and the kid is thrown into a coma. So Michael's brother is rushed to the hospital, and while he is in the hospital, he's having constant nightmares of these overly horrific versions of the animatronics. It's not exactly definite that he dies, but it's heavily implied. That's not going to be the last unsure situation. I wish it was, for my sake. So this traumatic experience leads William to go a little iffy in his psychological region. And one night, Henry's daughter, Charlotte, is locked outside of the diner by some kids. And there's this security system that's supposed to help the children, called the puppet. But someone, the kids maybe, have blocked the puppet from getting out of its box, so it cannot help Charlotte. A car pulls up next to her on the street. William Afton gets out of it, and he kills Charlotte. He murders Charlotte Emily. This is William Afton's first victim. First victim, guys. Baby's first victim. William victim. There's probably gonna be an ton more. This is an attempt to help Henry know how it feels to lose a child. Charlotte's body is left in an alley, and the puppet escapes its box, but too late, and the rain causes it to collapse and short-circuit. Right next to Charlotte's body, the puppet embraces Charlotte, and this is the first possession of an animatronic. This allows Charlotte's spirit to possess the puppet. Guys, that's the first section done. Aren't you so excited and so proud? I know I am. This is a lot of books. Did I realize that this was a lot of books? I don't think I did. He's my son. I made him. I made him who he is today. And who he was when he was born. Just that influential. This is not a book. It is actually. I'm a liar. It says pocketbook. This is actually definitely not a book. This is Tamagotchi Life. Great game. Watched Dan TDM series on that one too many times. Gotta get these records off my lap. They're gonna start warping. Time warp. That's what that's about. Do you see this shit? What kind of nerd lives here? Do you see this? What kind of nerd lives here? I swear to God. Why did I even have a childhood? Someone could have just handed me this and it would have been all the good parts. Oh. You guys are in for a treat. These are the original FNAF books before you losers had Fazbear Frights. I was living off of this. I have a bunch of fairy books. I don't exactly want them, but it feels homophobic to throw them away. And they're really big and they take up a lot of space. Kind of like fairies do. Am I allowed to say that? Yeah, I'm allowed to say that. I decided. It's fine. I'll throw them in my closet. Guys, I'm throwing the fairies in my closet. Help. Fairy book. The Umbrella Academy. Fairy book. American Gods. Fairy book. Here, you need to see what I'm dealing with here. Look at this. Guess what? We're on to more of the story. In 1987, a more professional restaurant is open. It's not just a diner anymore. William gets a little quirky. He kidnaps 5 children and kills them, stuffing them into the 5 main animatronics. With the missing children's incident, that location gets temporarily closed down, and a new one is opened up. The new location has the new animatronics, and these are built with tech to weed out criminals and, like, felons. I guess that's because of the missing children's incident. That's how they're solving the problem, I guess. But it's a flawed system. A security guard that's working in this new location named Jeremy is bitten. It's pretty cringe to get bitten in 1987. He's bitten by Toy Bonnie, who is just a new version of Bonnie, and receives damage to his frontal lobe, and he fully has to lose his frontal lobe, but he survives. This location shuts down, which is cool, because now both locations are shut down. So, no locations left, right? No locations? No locations? So, also, in 1987, that's a controversial take, but that's okay. There's a sister location, that's right, 3rd location, so we're not out of them yet. William had started assembling his own animatronics, and there was one called Circus Baby that was pretty much built to abduct children for William. Had this little claw thing that would, like, grab them. It's cool. William's daughter has always been super captivated by his creations and stuff. She sneaks off to go find Circus Baby, and Circus Baby kills her. His daughter possesses Circus Baby. Did I mention earlier that the 5 kids that he killed that were stuffed in the animatronics possessed them? Because they did. Yeah, that wasn't just some weird exception. That never happens in this series. Okay, so this is where the series gets a little... Okay, it was already silly, already, like, not believable, but this is... William extracts what he calls remnants from the 5 original children and injects it into the animatronics in the sister location. So remnant is kind of like this living soul juice that just like keeps them kicking. So he branches off and plans on opening a new establishment called Circus Baby's Pizza World, but the grand opening is canceled due to gas leaks. So it never opens. And then the true sister location opens, which is a service where you can rent out these new animatronics that were made by William Afton to your parties and stuff. As a parent, seeing that there's a new service made by the guy who had an establishment where 5 kids went missing, I'd probably rent from them too. So William goes back to the other location, the first location, not the diner, but the other one, and is cornered by one of the souls of the 5 children he murdered into one of the safe rooms. And William takes refuge in the Golden Bonnie suit, and what's silly about these and this design is that they are animatronics, but they double as, like, mascot suits. And so when you're in them, the inner workings of the machinery are exposed to you. And when these things get old, they malfunction, and they're very sensitive. So, because of the humidity and stuff in the safe room that had been, you know, abandoned for a while now, it sets off what they call the spring locks, which is, like, going from mascot mode to animatronic mode. And it collapses in on William. They call this getting spring locked. And because of this, they now call this animatronic William melding Springtrap. So William does not die and possess Springtrap. His consciousness kind of just lives on in this deteriorating body of his because he, fun fact, injected himself with remnant. Oh, that's crazy. That's so crazy. Editing Will here, I realized that I missed an entire section. So, I'm here to add that in. It's unclear when, but Michael confronts his father at some point, either when he's boarded up somehow in the safe room or just before or something. William instructs him to go to the sister location and free his sister, but it's like a trap. Michael goes to investigate. He's tricked by Circus Baby and entered into the scooping room where the animatronics get their inner workings scooped out. And these animatronics are attacking him because they believe him to be William Afton, but he is not. So Michael gets tricked into the scooping room and gets scooped by the machine and his insides are taken out. But he is exposed to remnant when his insides are being taken out. So he survives this. He's kind of just like a rotting corpse walking around. Just like his dad. Yeah, that's all. Night Shift by Stephen King. Isn't that like a bad horror game? I think this is just gonna turn into more reading out my reading list and then putting it back in a way that's aesthetically pleasing. And I'm not really upset about that. Physics! My physics book! I bought this with my own money. I wanted to get ahead in my physics class so I could impress my teacher, because he's hot. And I didn't read it. And now I'm not in a physics class anymore, so... I'm kidding, that's not the only reason I bought it. I actually enjoy physics. I swear. So, the little books, the tiny baby itty bitty books that I'm not very interested in reading are gonna go to the back. There we go. So, this is what we're working with. Poetry books. Miscellaneous. Books I intend on reading. And the back rows of these are books I don't intend on reading. And there's books all the way down here that are too big to fit on my bookshelf. On this side, I have all of my yearbooks. So, I did it. Now, 1993. Multiple people should be dead by now. They are not. That's a theme. The original location that was closed down because of the missing children's incident is reopening, finally, in 1993. And Michael gets hired there to try to get in contact with his brother's spirit. The original animatronics are in use again, and later that year the location is closed again because a bad odor is reported from those animatronics. Sometime between 1993 and I guess I'll call present day because we don't know when it is. People have said 2023, people have said like 2060 or like 2080, but I'll call it present day. So sometime between 1993 and present day, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place is open. Springtrap, which is William Afton, is transferred to a horror attraction called Fazbear Frights. And shocker, shocker, taking him out of his little prison means he's gonna escape. So he escapes. Present day. Guess who's back? Real ones will make an Eminem reference. I didn't do that, so I guess I'm not a real one. But guess who's making an appearance for the first time in way too fucking long? Henry. Henry's here. And Henry recruits Michael and lures all of these animatronics to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place using an audio luring device that's supposed to mimic William calling them there. William ends up showing up. He claims to know that this is a trap and everything, but he's intrigued. Henry, an absolute icon who disappeared for 30 years, he goes over the intercom and explains his devious little plan, which is how he's lured them all here to be able to set them free. To set them free, which means he's going to set the entire building on fire, killing everyone in the building, including himself. Which, in a way, is also setting him free because, I mean, he's lost his daughter, he lost his business partner in, like, the worst way possible. He became a murderer and, like, killed his daughter and stuff. Michael, who's observing all of this, is told that he has a way out, but Michael doesn't leave. He decides to stay because this is also a way for him to be set free. Henry has a line about wishing a special place in hell for William because of all of the awful things he did. And like that, Henry, William, Michael, and all of the other trapped souls are freed. And the wanted hell from Henry is granted because William's hell is an eternity of being tormented by the souls that he trapped. So Henry got his little wish. Now, some of you are gonna be like, hey, it doesn't sound like you covered all of the games. And to that I say, there's a special place in hell waiting for you, my friend. And then there's probably, you know, everybody saying, that was very short. And I agree, this is very dumbed down, but this alone took me like 2 or 3 hours to put together. The thing with Five Nights at Freddy's is that it's very apparent to me that this was not all planned out from the beginning. In 2021, the original creator was no longer involved in the series, so when games go on after the creators left, it's kind of like, And Scott obviously did not have this all planned out from the beginning, and it very heavily ties in with my views of fandom, if you watched that video. The fans made this story, whether you like it or not, and you can't disrespect those people, and you can't turn on them. They are the reason the story even exists, because it absolutely wouldn't without the fan base. I mean, I was pretty much there throughout the discovery of everything, and it was a wild time. It was ridiculous, and they did so good piecing together anything they could just for the creator to be like, yeah, that's what I planned all along, actually, so good job for finding that. But what they have come up with is quite impressive, and it's ridiculous that it's as cohesive as it is in its current state. Not too long ago, it was definitely not that. So that was my little recap before the movie. My room is a little more organized now, so that's exciting. As always, keep stinging, honeys. Don't forget to keep your Springlock suits away from water sources, and I'll see you next time.